the Supreme Court is all set to pronounce its verdict on the reconsideration of its 1998 judgment on legislators' immunity. The top court of the country will pronounce the verdict on immunity to lawmakers, MPs and MLAs that sought immunity over taking bribes for votes in House. In the year 1998, a 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court ruled that MPs and MLAs have total immunity in all matters related to voting in the House, which means that they are immune to prosecution even if they've taken a bribe to cast a vote. The case was related to taking a bribe by 5 JMM MPs, including the party patriarch Shibu Soren, in 1993 to vote against the no-confidence motion faced by the Congress government, led by the then Prime Minister PV Narasimha Rao. The Rao-led government, which was in minority in Lok Sabha, survived the motion though. The CBI had then registered a case against 5 JMM MPs, which was squashed by a 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court in the year 1998. Alright, to break this down for our viewers, what is the Supreme Court then all set to decide? The court is going to pronounce the verdict on immunity given to lawmakers. Should they be enjoying it or not? MPs and MLAs seek immunity over taking bribes for votes in the House. So let us be is what MPs and MLAs have said. Immunity is sought when taking bribes for speeches in the House. The Supreme Court is going to deliberate and decide upon whether to uphold previous Supreme Court judgment or not. The 1998 judgment is the previous judgment of the Supreme Court that had granted lawmakers that kind of immunity. Will that be overturned is something that we'll find out today. What was the 1998 judgment? Immunity for actions inside the House. So do bribe-monger netas have immunity? Now, 26 years ago, the PV Narasimha Rao government survived a no-trust motion. The Congress government at that point in time had bought the support of MPs, I beg your pardon, in the House of JMM MPs, 5 of them. In the year 1998, the apex court gave immunity to bribe taker JMM MPs. Supreme Court had said that bribe taker MPs have legal immunity. The apex court had said that bribe taker MP who did not vote have no shield. The 7-judge bench is to decide if this ruling from the year 1998 was actually correct or not. The apex court is to decide if the bribe taker MPs and MLAs are enjoying immunity and whether they should continue to enjoy this kind of immunity. Kanu Sharda is getting us more details on that big story. Kanu, essentially the apex court is now, or rather deliberating today, on whether MPs should be allowed to take bribe inside the House or not when it comes to important matters like supporting a government during a crucial motion like the no-confidence motion. This is extremely important and has a definite bearing on politics of the day that we are seeing today, isn't it?
Very well said, Sneha. On the eve of the elections that we are heading for, this verdict from the Supreme Court comes at a time, when the issue of taking and giving bribe holds an imminent importance in the society. So the Supreme Court is now going to consider whether the bribe taking thing from the MPs and MLAs are immune from the prosecution or not, because you rightly said that the MPs and MLAs have got the immunity from such prosecution from the 1998 verdict by the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court today is now going to deliver its judgment whether this immunity can continue or not. So it's a very, very important judgment for setting the political scenario in the coming days.
Kanu, for getting us up to speed with that. Kanu Sharda with that report from the Supreme Court of India this morning.